Greetings, people of the world. Oh, that's so cool. My watch is connected to my phone and it just told me that I started recording. That's good to know. Okay, so today's episode of 4F or F4, I actually can't remember what I called it right now. We're going to talk about some of my tips and tricks to the weight loss transformation thing that I did this last year. So this last year I lost about 15 kilograms. It's not huge, like dramatic amounts, but given that I've gained a lot of muscle too, that's pretty significant. And I think I was at 37 fat percentage. I could be wrong. I'm now down to 25 fat percentage. So basically what I have been doing this last year has been working. So obviously what I do won't necessarily work for everyone, but I want to share with you my tips and tricks that work for me. So what it comes down to simply overall is creating a calorie deficit. I heard this personal trainer dude talking about it, and he said something very funny. He said, you could be in a coma and lose fat. It wouldn't be very healthy, but, because your body would be burning more fuel than it is getting. He said you could eat 3 donuts a day and nothing else and probably still burn fat because your body is not getting enough calories, enough fuel to use. So it is using the fat reserves. That is not healthy, obviously, and not something to aim for. But the point is, I think, that whether you're doing shakes, low carb, high fats, or whatever it is, if your main goal is health, obviously, and fat loss, then creating a calorie deficit overall is probably the simplest and easiest way to go about that. Because truth be told, like, you can do the shakes thing, you can do the keto thing, which I don't know very much about, to be honest. Like, all these diets have benefits depending on your body type, depending on all kinds of things. But to be honest, I don't have the mental capacity to study nutrition right now, to study the gut, to study the effects of different things on my body. And I don't have the money to go and pay to get tested for things. So the only way I can guarantee that I'm going to burn fat is if the calories that I'm burning are more than the calories I'm consuming. It's creating that deficit that your body is always kind of, not always, but a lot of the time working on using your reserve. Essentially, if you want to lose weight and you want to lose fat, your body has to burn fat. So I used to think that, and this would have been true at the time, so I would go and do a workout I would do about 20 minutes of strengthening, because I'd read somewhere or I'd heard from a trainer friend that it can take 20 minutes to half an hour for your body to stop burning sort of the fuel that you've eaten and start kicking into fat burning mode. And then I would do half an hour of cardio, and then I would do another 20 minutes, half an hour of dancing or whatever it was. So I lost a lot of weight. But in my head, I had this unhelpful lie that there is no point being active or doing a workout unless it's going to be at least 45 minutes. Otherwise, you're not burning anything. Like, what's the point? And if you're eating like 2,500 calories a day, then that's true, because it will then take you half an hour, 45 minutes to get into a fat burning zone. But if you're in a calorie deficit, then pretty quickly, and most of the time, your body is in fat burning zone anyway, because it is having to live off of what's it called? What's the word? Wow, my brain. It's having to live off of the reserve of what you've got. So for me, as much as I know that obviously nutrition is important and studying what different foods do to your body is important, and obviously eating 200 calories worth of broccoli will have a much more positive effect than eating 200 calories worth of chocolate. But having said that, to be honest, I know myself, and I know that I'm probably not going to eat 2,000 calories worth of broccoli, and that every now and then I will want to eat 200, calories worth of chocolate. So I will count it, and that helps me because then I always know where I'm at. I always know whether I can actually treat myself this evening and have a couple glasses of wine, or or not, or whether I just need to stick to tea and water. And yeah, so creating a calorie deficit is however you choose to do that with whatever diet you choose to do. I personally just choose to count what I eat and log it, so that I can eat kind of almost whatever I feel like, but in small portions. And I actually like vegetables, so I tend to get a lot of vegetables, and like I like healthy food. It's just that I like a lot of unhealthy food as well. So the problem is not getting in healthy food. The problem is minimalizing, but making a little bit of space for the unhealthy treats that I know I can't quite let go of just yet. Hopefully in the future, maybe I will. So yeah, so I wanted to say that there's a difference between getting healthy and losing fat, because if right now I were to not count calories and have an avocado cheese salad every day and some fruit and nut and a sort of high fat, high protein smoothie full of all kinds of good things, and then a load of fruit, and even like any sort of brown bread, any sort of toasted sandwich with salad, meat, whatever it is. Like a lot of those are high calorie, especially cheese and nuts and, fats. So if I didn't track, for me, because I know that I tend to eat more than my body needs, and I tend to naturally eat more than I burn, because to be honest, food has a lot more calories in than what you would think. When you start counting, you're like, oh, that's why I'm not losing weight. That has that many calories in it. Huh, good to know. So honestly, I think we have a lifestyle and a habit of consuming more food than our bodies actually need. So even if I were to only eat healthy food, whole food, I would probably still overeat, and I probably wouldn't lose weight. So, eating healthy foods and fat loss can work together, but they're also two slightly different goals. So, yeah, just bear that in mind as you're talking about different methods and different goals and different plans, because I do want to be healthy, but I also want to lose fat, but I don't want to give up my ginger biscuits and tea. And there's a balance in that. There's a balance in finding an effective way to continue being in a calorie deficit while making sure you get enough nutrients, and while creating space and denying yourself long enough throughout the day to then treat yourself and enjoy it, and it not ruin your whole thing of being in a deficit. So that's essentially what I do with calories. I use MyFitnessPal and I log my exercise. So women tend to burn about 2,000 calories a day, give or take. Men tends to be more, about 2,500. So I noticed that if I have a pretty lazy day of not doing too much, my body will generally burn about 1,800, 1,900 calories. And I can easily eat 2,500 calories a day without even thinking. So that's where I noticed that my habits and my norm are what's causing me to gain a lot of weight. So, like I said, for me, it's numbers. Now, what I've done on my app is I put an aim, and it's a low number. So I aim for 1,200 calories. And then I do a workout, and then I can, like, if I say burn about 200 calories, then I add that. And the truth is, I probably go over. The reason I aim low like that is because I know that I won't always count that, I don't know, that one biscuit that I stole from Ezra, my one-year-old, almost 2-year-old. Or I won't always count the coffee that I had that had milk and 1 sugar in it. Or when I do a home-cooked meal, it'll always be a guesstimate of roughly how many calories are in it. Like, I won't really know. So I aim low, and I always go a little bit over. But that's the nice thing about having such a low number, is that I know that when I go a little bit over, I'm actually still doing fine. Like there's no need to be like, oh no, I need to go work out. But actually, like, it gives me some buffer, and I'm pretty good at not being, I don't beat myself up if I go over. It's a tool for me to know where I'm at without shaming me. Like, I don't feel like my app and my numbers put me to shame if I'm not at a certain place. It's not, for me, it doesn't create shame. It just creates some healthy habits, and it helps me be mindful about how much nutrients and how much calories really is in the food that I'm choosing to eat. So I found that really helpful. In terms of exercise, I tend to enjoy doing a lot of different things. Like dancing is my main passion and what I enjoy. And if I really can't be bothered to exercise, like really can't be bothered, I know that if I put a few good tunes on and decide to just have a boogie, then if I do that for half an hour to 45 minutes and just dance around the living room like an idiot, I'll burn a good few calories, I'll burn 200, 250 calories easily. And then the other thing is, I didn't realize how many calories you burn while walking. Like consistent walking with a slightly elevated heart rate, like doesn't have to be intense, but a half an hour walk can burn a good 200 calories. I do HIIT training, that's high intensity interval training, 2 to 3 times a week. I do the dance fitness, I do the walking. I have a treadmill now that I got for my 30th. Whoop whoop. So yeah, it really helps to have a wide variety. I used to go to gymnastics once a week. That's not going on at the moment because of the pandemic. I can't wait to get back into that. So it really helps to do it with people and do a variety of things. It'll be good for your health and your body, and you'll get strong and fit in all kinds of different areas, and you won't suddenly go somewhere and find your one muscle group doesn't work. Yeah, so that's, I was going to say something, but I have forgotten. Maybe it'll come back to me. Okay. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, so different activities. Oh, yeah, that is my next point, actually. Different activities is really helpful. And also live classes. So for me, and again, this won't be the same for everyone, but I know that if I miss a live Zoom class, the chances of me doing the workout later or in my own time are minimal, at least to start with. So I started making myself show up. Even if I had to leave, even if I wasn't well, even whatever reason, I would show up on Zoom to whatever live class I had committed to. And that having those, and I had one scheduled at least 3 times, probably more like 4 times a week, a live class that I was committed to showing up to. So having a regular live class really, really does help. It helps me anyway, because someone is expecting you to be there. It is live interaction with a person. It's community. It's, yeah. Maybe you're different and maybe you'll do the workout later, but I'm now at a point where I can make myself do a workout later. I did one with Ezra today. We're watching Joe Wicks, the body coach, and we had a great time. And we had a bit of a boogie. And yeah, but I know that starting off, I couldn't push myself. I couldn't make myself do it. I had to join someone doing something where they would make me do it. Because sometimes, even though you know what you want to be told to do, you won't listen to yourself, but you will listen to someone else tell you to do it. So sometimes you have to put yourself in a position where you can get someone else to tell you what you would want to tell you, but you know you won't listen to yourself. Yeah, so I know of a good few free live classes. So if that is something that interests you, I know some HIIT training and some dance fitness stuff that I do that is all free at the moment. So take advantage of that and get in touch, and I will sort you out there. Okay, my next tip, moving on, is that I keep my house a safe spot in terms of food. So I I would be quite a big comfort eater, and on a bad day, like I could easily eat myself sick. And I know that about me, and I know it's not healthy, and I know it's not ideal, but it's not something that I have fixed about myself at this point in life. So I know that as I'm going through the shop, if I buy a packet of biscuits and have the best intention of only having two with my tea once a day, that might work for 1 or 2 days, and then I might have a bad day and I'll binge. And that's that. So, besides ginger biscuits, which I don't, weirdly enough, I don't ever have the urge to binge on them. I can have two, maybe three with my cup of tea and quite happily stop. Generally, any like doughs and breads and packets of biscuits or dairy milk chocolate or anything like that, anything that I know that I can just keep eating, I keep out of the house. So I have dark chocolate in the house. I have some fruit and nut. I have raisins. I have, yeah, I do have treats in the house, but they're treats that I know that when I start eating them, I'm quite happy to stop after one or two. But anything that I know that I will just be likely to eat the packet of, or too much of, or make myself sick off of when I have a bad day, or when I'm feeling really lonely, or when I'm looking for food to comfort me and fill some void that needs to be filled by something else. Yeah, so I keep those out of the house. And if I do happen to treat myself to something, like for my birthday, I just got a box of chocolates that I was supposed to get for my birthday, but we couldn't find them. So I just got them today, and I had like 9 of the chocolates, maybe 10. And that's not even half of the box. But what I did is I left the box in my car so that, like, probably around about now, I'd easily finish the other box, the other half of the box. But I don't want to go outside to my car, so I probably won't. So for me, that's been really handy when I've been, especially if I've been given gifts like a box of chocolates or a treat kind of thing. Like I'll leave the box in the car, maybe grab a handful of 5 or 6, bring them up into the house, and then I can enjoy them knowing that they're not in the house for me to just binge and eat the half the box of. So yeah, leaving treats in the car. Sometimes I get Tyrone, my husband, to literally hide things from me. Like if we did treat ourselves to a specific packet of biscuits, I'll ask him, babe, can you bring out 2 or 3 biscuits? I'm going to have tea, and he'll bring them out. And like, that can seem kind of weird, but that's me being in control of me. Because if I wasn't in control, I wouldn't ask for help with that. Because I used to secret eat. I used to hope that Tyrone wouldn't notice what was in the house. I used to try and, I don't know, if we got given a treat from someone, I'd try and eat it before he noticed that it was there. So it's a healthy choice for me to actually have to be honest with Tyrone about where I'm at with food and get his help, so that I don't have to cut everything out completely, but know that I've got some support and accountability with moderation. So, the last point that I wanted to make was the importance of community and friendship. It comes under another F, friendship, fitness. Fun, because doing things with friends does generally make things more fun. You know, you share recipes, you share tips and tricks. Ooh, actually, before I get there, one other little thing I wanted to share. I personally really don't like cooking and cutting up veg and cleaning, and like I was never meant to be a housewife, I don't think. Because I just, ugh. But partly Tyrone can't take over in the kitchen because I'm too controlling. So there's that. That's a problem. But something that I will do maybe once every couple of weeks, I will get out 3 big pots. I'll cut up all of the various different types of veg that I have, and I will divide them between the 3 pots in various ratios and differences. Maybe one will be a bit more greensy, one will be a bit more stir fry, one will be a bit more tomatoey based. And then I'll cook them all up, and I've got 3 go-tos kind of one pot go-tos. One is sort of a Chinesey stir fry vegetable cabbagey thing. The other is a spicy tomato vegetable stew thing. And then the other is a sort of coconut curry vibe. And I put chickpeas and lentils and beans and all kinds of things in there as well. So, and then I boil them up and put spices, and then I make freezer meals out of them for the however long they'll last. So that's a really good way to, like, if you struggle with cooking, like a lot of the time, a lot of lunchtimes, I can just take out a little freezer pot and have that, and I'm getting good nutrition. It's low calorie because it's homemade, and it is, the bulk of it is vegetables, because I don't tend to need rice and potatoes and stuff with it, because there's so many vegetables and beans and lentils, and I use starchy vegetables like carrots and peas and corn as well, so that's that's where we get the starch from. It's not missing stuff just because I don't have like some meat and potatoes. Like, there's nutrients in other things as well that is good. So yeah, one day I'll post those recipes because they're actually really tasty, and if you're not fussy, and you can pick whatever combo of vegetables you feel like, and beans and lentils, like it's nice because it doesn't matter what I have in the fridge. I can pretty much make all three of those things as long as I have the vegetables that I usually buy. Yeah, so I will one day share that. Yeah, and then the last thing that I was on about was community and friendship, and just being a good enough friend to encourage some discipline. Because at the end of the day, if you have bad habits that are making you sick and overweight, the only way to change is to change. So if you're not ready to start denying yourself certain urges and cravings, and if you're not willing to push yourself to be active when you don't want to be, then things probably won't change, because to change you have to change, and it is really hard to change, especially when you've got life, you've got kids or work, or you're just trying to survive and get through and have enough energy to not just be completely broken at the end of the day. So it is tough. We don't live in a world that makes being healthy very easy, to be honest. We live in a world of convenience and laziness and instant junk food, and it is tough. So that's why friendship and accountability is so important, because you have to change if you want to change, and it's really hard. And encouragement and accountability and some loving, tough love is really helpful, because you need someone to push you and encourage you and get you off your bum and get moving, if that's something that you feel like you can't make yourself do. Like, I couldn't make myself do it. That's why I logged onto the live classes, because I know if I logged onto a YouTube workout, I'd like float through it and not work very hard and just be like, okay, I did it. Or I'd be like, yeah, maybe I'll do it a bit later. Or I'd be like, oh, let me just go to the loo. Let me just do this. Let me just do this. Or maybe I'll do it in half an hour, or blah, blah, blah. But with the live classes, there's a time, there's a routine, and I just show up. I no longer even think about it. There's no sort of, oh, will I work out today? Oh, will I go on Zoom today? Oh, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't even, like, I could be half asleep in my bed and I'd see it's 5 o'clock and I'd be like, oh, got to log on to Zoom. And then I'd do it. And it'd be horrible the first 10 minutes, maybe 15. And then it'd be great. And then I'd feel much better for the rest of the day. Yeah. So obviously I can chat more, so much more, because it's such a huge topic, and there are so many different like perspectives and body types and ways to go about it. But for me, at the end of the day, the calorie deficit works because it's simple numbers. Someone described it as like a bank account. It's like, how many calories you have to spend a day. You know what your body's burning per day, and tracking them is like tracking your bank account. You shouldn't spend more than you're earning. So you shouldn't eat more than you're burning. Ooh, that rhymes. Yeah, so that's my take on it, and it's working quite well for me. Obviously, I hit plateau every now and then. I have bad weeks. I have a bad month. I have a birthday month where I let things slide a little bit. But overall, it's a really good, manageable way. And although some days are still hard, the really hard part is over, of the beginning part of changing my lifestyle. That part is over. Like exercise, activity, and good eating and tracking my food is very much a part of my normal everyday lifestyle, and it's not too hard. But in the beginning, it was hard. It was awful. It was terrible. But I pushed through it, and now it's not so hard, despite there being some hard days, you know. Hopefully you get what I mean. Okay, I think I've talked enough. Get in touch if you have any questions or want to join me for any of the classes that I mentioned, some HIIT training and dance fitness, if you want to find out when they're at. And yeah, take care of yourself. Being kind to yourself doesn't always mean eating whatever you want or not doing a workout. Sometimes being kind to yourself is not having that bar of chocolate, or being kind to yourself is pushing yourself to get moving, because your body, your mind, your soul will thank you for it. But at the same time, there is no pressure and there is no shame for just doing what you can do, because life is tough and we're juggling a lot, and it's not an easy journey to embark on. Okay. Chat to you all soon. Bye.